Season 15, Episode 3, Motorcycle Driving Outside,
Wow.
Episode 94 in total. There's no just image of the Fendahl, dear. Image of the Fendahl.
Mm-hmm.
What are the What do you think? What is this? What is the Fendahl? Why is there an image of it? What is the Fendahl, dear? Why is there an image of this?
Okay, stop talking.
What the fuck is going on?
Stop talking. Holy shit. Jesus. So much. Are you okay? Holy fuck.
No.
Alright, fair. Would you like to learn about the episode today, Cam? Are you okay?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, there's a human skull. And there's a man speaking to it, and the woman calls him crazy, and then, however, they don't believe that this guy could have existed below a volcano before the volcano existed. Hard cut to a guy walking through a dark area of the woods. He's just walking around. The man who came to take some papers hands them off to a bald German dude. So they go and turn on some switches, and as soon as they start doing that, the skull in the other room glows. It's fine. And then the skull that starts to look like the lady. Maybe it's mind washing. We don't really know yet. The man in the woods is totally No, he's dead. The lady is like, I'm still okay. No, she's dead. Leela, by the way, is petting K9, and something seems to be wrong with him. He's also dead. Leela all straight goes, you can't control the TARDIS, bitch. And at that moment, he's like, I'm in control. The TARDIS just veers to the side, and woo, there they go. The issue is apparently coming from Earth.
Not
the doctor's
in
like,
control.
oh my god, why are we going to Earth? Lady is reading the newspaper the next day, and the bald man comes in, and she's like, I'm fine, but I fainted. Meanwhile, also that one dude and his dog, soon to be named Dude, find the dead body, and it's Werewolf in London. American Werewolf in London. Lady
An
and...
American werewolf in London. Yeah, that's the song.
Lady and Bald are just arguing, and Dog Dude comes in, and they're like, there's a fucking dead dude! And apparently, we're not gonna call the cops because we want to be, privately here. With privacy, yeah. Bald Dude calls for Suit Dude to get his best men. And the doctor has landed, and there's some cows. Back to Bald Dude, they're apparently... The post-mortem of the dead body, there's nothing that seems to have killed him. But he did die recently. But it's already decomposing, and that's kind of weird. We're gonna dispose of the body now. The doctor's taking a nap under a tree, and Leela has found someone, supposedly attacking them. And he now thinks that the Leela and the doctor are absolutely batshit crazy, and then they leave. Meanwhile, a pig is talking to Grandma, and she says she doesn't have clearance, but it's fine. And the old lady is like, I'm gonna curse you all, bye. Apparently the cop pig is now here to keep everyone both in and out, and Leela wants to attack more people because they wandered into a house. Bald isn't budging a fucking inch about letting them leave. Bald's machine is very important. Supposedly. It only works at night, and Lady and Guy leave to go get dinner, but Lady instead goes into Bald Guy's room at night to try his stuff, and when she does, it makes the skull glow. And Leela has wandered off to go look around another house she found. The doctor's like, and Lady is like, ooh, skull face, but then someone has a gun and is ready to shoot, and the doctor is maybe being attacked. We're not really sure. Yeah. That's it.
So a little bit of background for where this episode comes from. Pardon me, I'm half asleep right now, as always.
That's a mood.
But anyway. Yeah, I know, right?
Too much Elden Ring, man.
2 years before this story aired, a skull was found of a hominid named Lucy by the discoverers. That was over 4 million years old. You remember Lucy the skull?
Mm-hmm. I do, actually.
Something so recognizably human could turn out to be so ancient changed the thinking on when and where humanity may have started. Because before then it was mainly sort of, going by recorded history sort of thing.
Yeah.
And, rumors and myths prior to it. But there was nothing that led back that far. That obviously split off into different sort of theories as to what's happened, and aliens sort of obviously came up. People sort of not finding it possible that we could be related to something so ancient, or, if humans were that old, like, obviously they must have had help to have survived this long, sort of thing. The sort of main argument was that stone-chucking thugs couldn't have built temples, ergo so someone else must have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Finding elaborate funeral arrangements and stone circle calendars meant that they weren't, stone-chucking thugs. Like, people back in the day were not as sophisticated as us, but they were sophisticated still.
Can I say my favorite quote about that sort of shit is, just because white people didn't do it first doesn't mean that it was aliens.
Yeah. It's great. Alright. Meanwhile, sort of the more pop culture version of sociology was sort of coming into fashion, with, like, zoologists making sort of, like, headlines out of explaining our habits as humans and sort of how our habits helped ancestors survive, that sort of thing, sort of like body language and all that sort of shit. A briefly fashionable theory that our ancestors were aquatic apes, the discovery of pheromones, and all manner of, like, now it can be told accounts of all of our behavior, sort of everything. Just being told because that's how we are wasn't enough anymore. Now there was actually a way to discover why we were like this. In a secular age, people will believe anything logically self-consistent. With the image of Fendahl, Chris Boucher, if you remember, the writer of the Robots of Death, et al., came up with a neat, all-encompassing theory which happens to not be true. Just to show how easy it is to account, quotes, for all of human nature. Sort of, this episode's kind of making fun of the whole, like, we come from aliens sort of dumb theories, where it's like, you can account for everything, but there's obviously going to be parts that will fit no matter what. Like, you can create a theory that fits everything, but it doesn't make it real. It just means it fits everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where this comes from. This also was the last script that Robert Holmes commissioned after this. He's on the way out after this, and the writer actually couldn't complete rewrites to the script because he had an appointment as a script editor on another show, Blake 7, which is another British cult show, science fiction, actually created by Terry Nation, creator of the Daleks. I've never watched Blake 7, never been my sort of thing. So the new incoming script editor, Anthony Reed, took over, which is why the story has a bit more info-dumpy moments. Whereas sort of they tend to show up more in Anthony Reed's sort of work, which, like, upcoming stories that we'll get to. Whereas Robert Holmes sort of is more about just getting to the punch. And same with Chris Boucher to a degree. But that's Image of the Fendahl, sort of a origin of species kind of story. What happened in part 2, dear? Did Lena and the Doctor both die?
Surprisingly, no, not yet. This is the one time, actually. The Doctor's legs supposedly don't work, but also he makes them work. Cut to the old man with the gun who plays with tarot cards being attacked by Leela. Another guy walks in behind Leela and he's like, put the fucking gun down. Both of them are coming into this cottage of his grandmother's for, like, what the fuck, why? By the way, lady gets walked in on, and dude's like, what's wrong? Oh god. Pig is reading the paper and the door is opened and he screams. Dude slaps lady, she's like, what? And then we find out that the pig died. It is the same as the first dead guy, and lady is like, everything is weird and faint. Doctor walks in and suddenly asks how many deaths there's been. Lady is glowing for no real reason. There's, like, leeches on her. It's weird. There's supposedly a thing from the Doctor's mythology from 12 million years ago. Doctor wants some orders, but he's then taken... Doctor gives out some orders. No, I'm not. But then he's taken away on charge of murder. Suit goes over and he's like, it's the same death bald guy. And dude is like, lady, come on. We gotta go. We gotta go call the police. And Leela is like, why would we lie to the dude? And he's like, don't leave, Leela. And my grandma doesn't want to see you, old man. So leave. And grandson is like, my grandma might be involved in some cult shit. And Leela is like, we gotta go stop the time scan thing. The doctor has now escaped his cell. Dude and lady are like, oh god, we fucked up. What do? We can't call the police, but also we can call the police. And we try, and the line's disconnected, and we are very trapped. Lady explains it was all a plan. Her plan? Ooh. And yeah, she starts to stare at the skull for a bit, then leaves. Now we think the skull is alien in origin, and the dude is like, the fuck? Bald gets very angry, and Bald thinks all humans are aliens. Leela and grandson are gonna leave, but grandma's outside and sort of scared. Crazy old farmer / crazy old man's is talking to suit dude, and he's telling him all about the doctor. Dude and Bald are still arguing about how man came to Earth, and Bald knows the exact reason when and why and blah 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 in the skull. And we x-rayed the skull when you weren't looking, so lady, please go lay down for a bit. Leela and I remembered the skull, and it's very upsetting. The Leela and grandson are like,
Why?
Are you okay, Grandma? What happened? There's stuff in between. Shut the fuck up. Something talked to her in her brain, and it was so scary. The x-ray reveals that there was a fucking pentagram in the skull. And it's so dumb. It's a fucking neural relay something. It's also a beacon that would signal that there's intelligent life here, and then it'll meet something when something science. Leela has now snuck into Science House by knocking out a guard. Lady goes to talk to Doctor, but he's not there. Oh. Instead, she goes back to Bald's room and sees the cool x-ray. Suit walks in and goes, what the fuck are you doing? Also, he's really creepy, won't let her leave, and he chloroforms her, basically. The doctor, however, is
essentially
fucking around and look at all the things and experiments, and also finds the skull, and he's like, ooh, and he starts to touch it. And then when he does that, it starts to glow, and it's not great for him. It's not great. It's not great. That's it. That's all. Yeah.
No, it's not great. He's fucking dead now.
Mm-hmm.
He always dies. Every single time.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, the guard dog is ingenuously named Leaky, in reference to one of the paleontologists that I believe found the skull of Lucy. I'm pretty sure. But also, they kind of realized after the fact, they were like, wait, are people just going to think that they called him Leaky because he pisses everywhere? And it's like, yeah... I mean, if you see a dog called Leaky, you're not going to think, oh, after the paleontologist. You're going to think, does your dog piss everywhere?
Yeah.
Is that why?
Is he got, like, a hemorrhoid going on? What's up? What's happening?
Yeah, just sort of named after Louis Leakey. There's some other things as well that we'll get to, I want to explain, but I also don't want to spoil the story. God, there's so much to talk about with this one, especially about the end. So the cast was sort of taken out to lunch after the read through. Sorry, the director took them all out. Tom Baker made so many jokes about the script, picking out all the double entendres and sending it up, sort of, you know, having a laugh with it all. This caused the writer to get so upset at him, but it had the knock-on effect of him combing through his skips from Theron to make sure there were no double entendres from here on out. Because, you know, I don't know, I like when they're there. It's fun. It's a little bit of fun. Fun for the kids, fun for the parents. A little bit of something here and there. You know, it's not that bad. Also, no year is given for when the story is set, but it's kind of assumed that it's set in the year that it was released, 1977. Also, the trailer for after the previous episode sort of announces that it's in 1977, but, you know, continuity trailers don't fucking mean anything. Also, the story introduced a new version of Leela's famous leather outfit. It was noticeably lighter in color than the last version. The new version was created because the original was actually wearing out, and furthermore, it had caused Louise Jameson some problems because it was a leotard. In the new version, by contrast, it was actually a dress, And the producer also instructed the designer, Amy Roberts, to, quote, make Louise look sexier in the new outfit. The original leotard appears briefly at the end of part 4, mainly just to facilitate a punchline in the joke at part 1 that they set up, and returns in the following story because of production schedules, before the new version came back for Leela's other 2 episodes in the season. But also the reason why she has her hair in a bun, by the way. Did you notice that her hair was sort of in a bun the entire episode? The reason why is because a BBC hairstylist accidentally cut 6 inches off her hair just prior to filming. So
How?
That's why her hair's in a bun, because they fucked up her hair.
How do
but that's why
accidentally
at the end,
do that?
No idea, they just did. But that's why her final scene in part 4 was filmed like 5 weeks after the incident, so it had grown enough where she could wear it down for a single scene. But yeah, that's what happens in the next part, dear.
Jesus. Okay. Well, there's a recap, and then Leela is now in the science house and finds the doctor, and Leela kicks the chair out, and he's saved. Something about it becoming a generator. It's also alive. It also eats life. We also need to head off and talk to that old lady who saw something scary. Meanwhile, Dude and Bald are chatting about shit. So now the computer is going to give a visual interpretation of what was going on, so let's turn it on. Suit injects Lady with some fucking syringe, and she doesn't even try to fight him. Suit is like, I'm gonna use you to control all the ancient things. Grandma has fallen asleep and won't wake up. She's probably dead. Meanwhile, Suit walks in with a gun and stops Bald Dude from using the thing. So they turn off the computer, and he's like, I'm not ready for this shit. Stop. Apparently, Grandma really is dead. No, she's good. She's good. But she was in psychic shock.
Oh, Grandma's fine.
Yeah, she was in psychic shock. Like some fucking Yu-Gi-Oh shit. Anyway, Time Fisher in the area fucks with people. Suit is gonna summon Satan. Oh god. Everyone is now in the creepy tied up basement. So the Doctor and Leela hop in the TARDIS to figure out what to do. There was no 5th planet where the skull came from. That's weird. Or maybe there was no information about it. So the Doctor is gonna head out and figure it out himself. The Doctor's Grandma's doing tarot and pulls the tower. So that's cool. If you don't know what that means, then well, fuck you, I guess. Grandma wants to protect her grandson.
Oh, okay, fuck me, I guess.
Being a little shit about it. Meanwhile, the cult of Suit and Crazy Old Man are prepping the summoning area. Bald Dude finally figures it out, and he's like, oh no. The Doctor figures out the thing he needs to figure out, as per usual. The cult members are here and ready to go, and Bald tries to reason with everyone. Doctor and Leela walk through the woods, obviously not going to be attacked. Bald, is it a Fendahl or whatever? I don't know. And Grand Lady and Grandson broke into the science house, and we hear a gun go off. Bald is now dead. You can't show that on TV. And the seance is gonna start now. Lady accepts her fate. The pentagram isn't even fucking even, but it's fine. The Doctor and Leela meet up with Grand Kid and whatever. And now none of them can move because a King Leech is on its way. Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, fun fact about the Fendahl.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know a fun fact about the Fendahl, do you?
Sure.
Are you sure?
Sure, I guess. I don't really have a choice.
Okay. Well, the godlike entity of the Fendahl does not speak. The writer had similarly been resistant to writing lines for the messianic computer Zoannon in the Face of Evil on the grounds that no one could write dialogue for God. Like, how could one write how could one write any sort of dialogue for a god? Which I just find fucking hilarious. But I kind of like that they do it for this because it would be kind of dumb if they did. It would be kind of shitty. Sorry, I'm imagining her talking. And it's just so dumb. Also, there's no clear on-screen indication in the story as to how the Doctor got out of the storeroom in part 2. He kind of just is in there, and then the next scene he's just not. In the novelization, though, that Terrence Dix did, the Doctor opens the door with, quote, a hearty kick, but he does no such thing on screen. Prior to his exit, the Doctor is shown using the sonic screwdriver, but it appears to be having no effect at the time, so they just, I guess, just forgot to do it, or didn't know what to do. Also, the actress that was playing Thea, Wanda. I don't know if it's Ventham or Ventham. She, at the time, this was her first acting job after giving birth to her son, who, fun fact, is Benedict Cumberbatch, which was a surprise to see. So there you go. There's a connection between Benedict Cumberbatch and Doctor Who now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that, dear?
5 degrees of separation or whatever the fuck.
5 degrees of separation. Yeah, everything's related to Benedict Cumberbatch.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. 7 degrees of Benedict Cumberbatch. Also, I will say real quick, in part 4, there's kind of a potential wall break moment. Colby leaves to go help Grandma with the salt, as the Doctor orders him to. And then the Doctor turns and looks directly in the camera, and then as if addressing the audience, because no one else is in the room, he just says, "Time's running out."
Mm-hmm.
It's not the first time. Like, there have been arguably moments where the Fourth Doctor has broken the fourth wall a little bit, like when he first meets Leela. And there are other moments, like the First Doctor actively breaks the fourth wall in the Daleks' Master Plan, where he looks towards the camera and just says, "And also Happy Christmas to you out there as well." That is I would love to get to that episode someday, because it is truly an epic.
Mm.
Also, Leela kissing Colby on the cheek was ad-libbed by Louise Jameson. The surprised look on his face is genuine. She just thought she'd do it. Also, the story has a lot of weird, like, death counts in this. This is a very dark story for a lot of reasons. They had to cut around a lot of them, and a lot of them they had to basically go with whatever the least amount of people would be upset with. We'll talk about one of them after Dia explains what happens in the episode, but yeah, it's a bit odd. Also, the Fendahl, the big giant slugs, were altered in pre-production to make them look just a little bit less phallic. Because they were, believe it or not, given ribbing and tassels before even getting an extra coat of latex. So they were ribbed for your pleasure.
Oh boy.
What happens in the next part, dear?
Before that, since you actually don't know what the tower basically means in tarot, basically means danger, crisis, liberation in some cases. It could also mean, like, higher education or higher learning and also destruction. It is the most, quote-unquote, feared card in a tarot deck. Even, like, Death and the Devil card, like, nothing is as scary as the Tower, because it literally is the card that you pull and you're like, oh, guess I'm gonna die. Cool. Especially if it's, like, in your future slot. Because the death card, most people are like, oh my god, death. It's like, no. The death card generally just means, like, an extreme change. Whereas the tower is like, no, you're probably gonna die. Especially if it's in, like, your future slot or whatever. It's very fun. Just so you know.
Great. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, but, you know.
What, the fact that I know tarot cards, or, like, what?
No, not the fact that you know tarot cards. I kind of assumed you would know.
Listen, you've seen my high school photo. You know.
Yeah, that's why I assumed.
Listen. So, anyway, Doctor can move now, so he takes the gun, shoots the leech, while telling everyone to run. Lady is now okay. She's gotten gold makeup all over her, and she's helped to stand up by weird extra powers. And everyone turns into leeches. Soot is very upset that things didn't go his way. Then there's a cable that goes downstairs, so we should go look at it. Grandma, stay here. You're old. Lady is being all godlike downstairs. Doctor and Leela head inside to look. They cut it. They cut... Okay,
take a breath.
I see what no, I was trying to figure out what I wrote, and it was a typo. It's fine. They cut shirt free, and of course no one notices, and then we need to run away, and don't look her in the eyes while you run away. Doctor tries to save Suit. It's too late. He wants to shoot himself, so he stops transforming, so we give him a gun and run away. He shoots himself. Grandma's like, listen, it's getting dark, so everyone just go look at the dead leech. We say some science shit, and now we know that salt kills them. They're like slugs. Doctor turns off the computer, and we've saved the planet. Lady is made up of a bunch of leeches and is not complete, so now we can save everyone. Grandma's charms are made of rock salt, and now we gotta find even more salt. Shirt is ready to help the Doctor, and is already learning about the entire past of the world / Time Lords, which seems like a lot to learn in the span of a couple minutes. Grandson sees Lady in the big old fucking leech, and she should really shoot it? Leela knocks grandson out because he's a pussy and steals his gun to shoot it. She then shoots it. The gun goes off and Lady is sent back downstairs and she's teleporting all over the place. Leela saved grandson and everyone needs to collect all the salt. Grandson and Grandma are headed out and Shirt brings a lead-lined box in. Also, the computer is set up to be a fucking bomb, so turn it off at this exact time and you save yourself. Let's head downstairs, throw some salt at this bitch. Most of them miss, it's fine. We put the skull in a lead box. Shirt turns the computer off, books it. Everyone needs to run very quickly. Doctor and Leela don't look at the lady in the face while they leave. She's teleporting around and shit. Magic shit happens. We run really fast. And then you can't see shit because it's so fucking dark. What is this, Game of Thrones? Anyway, everyone runs to Grandma's house to hide under a table. It's kind of cute, actually, that they all cuddle. Explosion goes off, fire and mayhem. Oh god. Well, Doctor and Leela are okay. Then they just kind of head into the TARDIS. Skull, by the way, is going to be thrown into
Annie.
a supernova. I don't really know why Leela just decided to change back to her old outfit. But I learned why. It's fine. Anyway, also let's finish repairing K9 because he's the only one that matters. Yeah. There you go.
I mean, he is.
He is. He's literally the only thing
Really?
that matters, and he wasn't even in this fucking episode, really.
I know. It's okay. He's in the next one.
He fucking
Probably.
better be, or I'm quitting the goddamn podcast.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
At this point, they didn't know if he was going to be a main character or not, so they didn't hire John Leeson back to do more lines. That's why he doesn't have any lines at all in this. No, it's serious. I'm serious.
Anyway, continue.
That's why. 2 days after filming was completed of this episode, Tom Baker and Louise Jameson attended the world's first ever Doctor Who convention in London.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's multiple around the world. Every year, except of course during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But COVID's mitigated now, so people can return to cons semi-safely. So Suit, whose actual name is Max Stahl, his death was the point of contention. They initially wanted he shoots himself in the head.
Yeah.
Committing suicide, which, for a kids show is a bit much. But the way that they showed it, where it's like, hand me the gun, he goes off screen, bang, and then you see his dead body on the ground. That was the compromise that they came up with, because they were fully gonna show him shooting himself on screen.
Wow, that's a lot for Ben.
Welcome to the late 70s, dear. Welcome to the late 70s.
Why did it take so long? Why did it take Mortal Kombat to get people to think about a rating system?
Well, that was for video games.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
But yes, no. That's Image of the Fendahl. It is a story. It's a fairly middling. It's an okay one. It has several sequels. An Eighth Doctor book, which I've never read because I believe it's part of the war in. It's the beginning of the whole War in Heaven arc, which I barely ever touched, and I've never really read the Eighth Doctor Adventure series of novels. It's a lot. There's also an audio sequel that I haven't listened to yet because I haven't gotten around to it because there's a lot to listen to. The Fendahl pop up here and there throughout, but never in TV again. This is the only time you'll ever see them in TV, dear. Don't worry. No more slugs for you. But that's Image of the Fendahl. How you feeling, dear?
I'd like a 4. It wasn't offensive. It was like borderline not offensive, but
it wasn't racist.
Yeah, it wasn't racist. There was no canine, so fuck that.
If it doesn't have canine, it's an automatic 4.
I mean, honestly, it's not a 10. If it doesn't have canine, it's not a 10.
Oh god. Well, maybe when we get to certain companions, you'll change your mind about that.
Maybe, but until then, I don't give a shit.
Until then, we'll see you in the next episode, which is called... There are 2 words. One you could possibly guess. I love the next episode because it is the capitalism bad episode.
Okay.
The next episode. The Sun Blank.
The Sun Blank?
The Sun... I'll give you a hint. The Sun Blankers. So somethingers.
Seekers?
No.
Lookers straight into?
No.
I don't... I don't know. The sun... Keepers.
No. Makers.
Oh.
The Sun Makers.
Okay.
I hope you like taxation and capitalism and corporations controlling everything and people being so oppressed by the corporations that they commit suicide. Robert Holmes sure does know how to write a script when he's angry.
Noted.
That's next episode, episode 95, The Sunmakers. Anything else you want to note, dear?
I wish I was playing Elden Ring.
Oh, I have some good news for you, dear. As soon as we hit stop, you can actually just go and do that.
I can't. Max is asleep and I like playing with him.
Oh, are you only allowed to play when Max is awake?
I'm not allowed to. Like, I could play if I wanted to, but like I like playing with him. So.
Okay, that's fair. How dare you like playing video games with your partner?
How fucking dare I? Jesus.
Fucking awful. Go to bed.
God, I'm a horrible person. Goodbye.
Good night. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.